After almost 40 years of a life in front of a computer, I realized at the age of 72 that my sedentary journey had to stop, and I needed to finally get my body in better shape. I had grown over the years from a weight of 218 after college and working on ships for the Navy to 360 pounds as I wrote books and continued my military combat system architect consulting in front of my computers. After a bout with COVID, I suddenly found myself with fluid built up around my heart and excessively overweight. The doctors couldn't drain the fluid using a needle because of the excess fat. As a result, I had to go through an operation to drain the fluid around my heart, my first operation since being a boy of 10. Coming out of the operation, I could barely walk 500 feet. At this point, I decided I couldn't continue like this, and I decided to stop my unhealthy life. I had type 2 diabetes, 7.1 A1C, with lots of medications, and had been fully around trying to fix my diet, but now I had to go full force. The doctors suggested I take Ozempic medication at $800 every 3 months on Medicare. I decided that medications were not going to fix my problem. Only dedicated work and commitment would save me. I did buy the first set of Ozempic, but placed it in my refrigerator as a reminder of what I needed to avoid. My next decision was I needed to get moving and clean up my diet. No sweets, nothing with sugar, no breads, not adding salt to anything. I also drank unsweet iced tea. I started walking the hallways outside my apartment. At first I just did 2 laps, but slowly built it till I was doing 10 laps over a 1-month period of work. I counted my steps and went from under 2,000 steps to about 5,000 steps, but this was only the beginning. As I continued, I built up over a period of months till I reached 15 to 20,000 steps. That's about 10 miles worth of steps. I graduated from walking the halls to walking on the treadmill for 3 hours a day. In the morning after breakfast, I would walk for an hour. After lunch, I would walk for an hour. And in the evening after dinner, I would walk for an hour. I used the Noom application on my iPhone to track my food intake along with calories burned from exercise. I limited my calories to a maximum of 1,500 calories a day. This meant a breakfast, egg whites, onion, mushrooms, some hash brown potatoes, a lunch of fish or chicken with vegetables, sometimes a hamburger without the bun or cheese wrapped in lettuce called a protein burger, a plain salad for dinner, and I'd finish off the day with an Atkins shake and a sugar-free Jell-O cup. While I did a good estimate on my foods I was eating, I knew I was probably misjudging the actual amounts, so by keeping the levels at 12 to 1,500 calories tracking, I had a margin of error versus the number of calories I was burning with exercise. I started in August and knew it would take me at least a year to reach my goal. I kept a strict regimen day in and day out, 7 days a week, week after week, month after month. This is a commitment, not a flash decision. I weighed myself every Saturday morning, just getting out of bed and having a shower. That way it measured constant condition week to week. I tended to drop about 2 pounds at a time. Eventually I decided to stop the iced tea and switch to drinking just plain water. 2 or 3 sports bottles a day. At that point my weight started to drop 3 pounds at a time. By March, after 6 months, I'd been able to break to the 300-pound barrier, down 60 pounds from my top weight. This was the first time I was under 300 pounds in close to 20 years. I celebrated the simple things. My waist was shrinking from rubbing against the steering wheel to now allowing a hand's width between my waist and the steering wheel. I could walk for more than 10,000 steps a day. I was still building to my eventual 17 to 20,000 steps. But still I continued, day after day, mile after mile. The doctor now saw my type 2 diabetes was going away to levels at the lower range of at risk, 5.6 A1C. While still on the medications, I still had not touched the Ozempic. There are a few times that I dropped nothing for 1 or 2 weeks. I would revisit everything I was eating and review my exercise to make sure I was keeping my needed vision. Eventually, I would continue to drop weight. I am talking with the local fitness coordinator. It was probably a case of gaining muscle as the fat was dropping. This caused the leveling off periods. After a year, I dropped 100 pounds to 260 pounds. I had rolls of skin, some with fat, but since I was not going to do body modeling, I don't care. My doctor measured my A1C at 5.4, below the diabetes range. I had begun to add some weight training to build more muscle in my upper body, and I've had my diabetic drugs terminated. While I was not reached my old weight around 220, I also recognize that I have 30 to 40 pounds of loose skin. In addition, over the years, my bones have grown strong to carry the weight, and as such added to my body weight. I've slowed down on some of the exercising now, only walking 2 hours a day. But I'm still dropping weight, albeit maybe a pound every few weeks. At this point, I'm letting my body adapt to the new condition, and notice the nerves and circulation were having to adjust to this much smaller body. My daily routine and eating habits have become just a part of my life. I actually feel bad on days when I find I can't do all my walking. In addition, my eating habits make me full if I eat more than normal, and it's easy to stay at the lower calorie levels. When I was younger, a double hamburger and a large fry was a simple lunch. As we bid adieu, let me extend my heartfelt thanks for embarking on this eye-opening journey with me. Your presence and support light up my cosmos out of my content. Don't forget to tap on the like button and hitch a ride on the spaceship of my stories. YouTube channel at www.youtube.com at The Watcher in the Fall for never-ending adventures in the intersection of history and sci-fi. Be sure to visit my community often. There's always a good change on these sites to hear and see and buy. I hope you will find a few goodies at davinciconnections.com. Thank you and farewell.